said, watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Doing my little touchdown celebration since we didn't get to have any today. You feel me?
Yeah, man. Get that little celebration, bro. Hey, damn, that's crazy. He had 7 times to make a little dance, bro.
First game, man. And he won the game for us. Shout out to Austin Seibert, baby.
He put the team on his back, bro.
Yes, he put best kicker in franchise history since Mark Mo. Who was our MVP?
All right, now, Jay. All right, brother. Welcome back to another episode of the Trap or Dive podcast. This is a post-game recap. I am your host, Mual, and with the fellas, Jay, AJ, recapping a Commanders dub against the New York Giants, 21-18. Very interesting game for a ton of reasons. I see y'all in the chat. Jay Tizzy, DMV fan out too. Look, man, Monty, everybody that's watching live on Twitter. By the way, if you on Twitter, man, you can stay there. No big deal. But if you want to migrate over to YouTube, man, be a part of the show on that side. Hit that subscribe button as well. We definitely appreciate that. Yeah, man, fellas, how y'all doing, bro? Did this game stress you out at all?
Of course it did. Yes, it stressed me out, Jamal. I mean, I was drinking the whole goddamn game. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's better to walk away from this game saying we won versus sitting here all week talking about how Daniel Jones owns us and how we are the division's doormats, and also feeding into Kayvon Thibodeau's comments that there is no division rivalry for the Washington Commanders. That may still be the case, but we won today, and that's all I care about.
I wasn't stressed. I just looked at it like Cliff is still Cliff. And it's just mind-boggling to me to have 5 or 6 red zone visits with such a dynamic quarterback, and you can't score touchdowns. Like it's very interesting to me, but it also kind of makes sense when you have a lack of creativity with a whole field to your disposal. Now, when it gets shortened, it's going to look exactly like that. You're not going to get creative. So,
but is that on Cliff or was that on more of the penalties? I thought the penalties killed him every time.
How many red zone penalties did we have? I know it was like a ton of false starts. I'm serious. I know it was like
I don't know. It was a lot. Yeah.
I mean, I can't even like the penalties. Yeah, it puts you back, right? But at the same token, you still get opportunities to score in the end zone. You feel me? Like you still get first, second, third down, whatever down that I think most of the penalties happen on first down. You still get opportunities within that threshold to get some touchdowns. And I think one of the plays towards the end of the game, Cosme, for example, getting the false start. They was trying to run a damn direct snap to Brian Robinson. Like it's just maybe sometimes getting a bit too cute instead of just really playing football, just dialing up most of some guys. Something like
all right, hold on, because I'm looking at the Jones now. 2 of these Jones was on 4th down and on 3rd down, in the red zone. I'm still going through them. We had an offensive holding on 3rd and 11 on at the Giants 11. So that's 3 penalties in the red zone.
One of those 4th downs was like a 4th and inches on like the 4.
Yeah, it was a 4th and 1. It got knocked. Yeah, it was the 4th and 1 on the first drive. It got knocked back. And you had to end up kicking a field goal. That was on Ben Sinnott. I'm still going through the list. I don't know how many. That's 3 that we got so far. Yeah. Oh, a 1st and 10 at the 14. Sam Cosby knocked them back 5 yards. That made it 1st and 15 at the 19. So it was kind of so I think we got 4 penalties inside the 20 for Washington. 3 of them I think inside the 10.
Well, my point is, I mean, it's already hard to score in the red zone. Don't make it harder on yourself. And that's what they did all day. I just think they made it harder on themselves with undisciplined penalties all day in the red zone. It's not easy to score in the red zone for any team. So, you don't want to go backwards when you get there.
Yeah, it's hard, man. And I think honestly, if there was one takeaway, I want to give Anthony Armstrong a shout out because that was definitely, he said it on Twitter, but that was definitely my thought for Washington. There was one takeaway or the one sentence takeaway from today's game for me, fellas. The major thing is, like, I think they are understanding what their identity is offensively. Brian Robinson took off today, career highs in terms of yardage. And I think career high in terms of rushing, his longest run of his career, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was 40.
Yeah, 17 for 133. He should have housed that one jump where the defenders lost him in the scrum. But he went for 40 on that play. But 17 for 133 on the day. But even last week, between Eckler, Jayden, and B-Rob, I love the fact that they are able to run the ball effectively. 35 carries, 215 yards on the day. Last week they had over 100 yards too. Obviously, Jayden Daniels was the big reason behind that last week. But this week it was a lot of B-Rob. And I think that this is one of those instances where you kind of see moving forward. Hopefully you see Cliff and this offense start to buy into exactly what they can do on the ground. So that's my one sentence takeaway. I don't know if I caught y'all off guard, but that's just one thing for sure. If y'all want to comment on the run game itself, I think that this is something that they can really, at the very least, while they're struggling from an overall standpoint of just like finding their footing offensively, I think this is something that they're really building on and building on pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the run game was efficient today, but you also having that run game, you would have hoped that the play action game would have kicked in a bit more and been able to take some shots downfield, possibly with having that effectiveness at running back, at the running position. I think just overall, man, I'm not really understanding what Cliff's issue is to evolve.
Run game, man. Run game, Brad. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, run game is cool. Yeah, I mean, that's my take on the run game, and that's what we gonna focus on. If we want to just keep it run game, yeah. I mean, it's like you ran for 215, but you ain't scored no damn touchdown. So it's like, what is there really to be excited about offensively? Like you scored no touchdowns. Like, thank God that you ended up firing your old kicker and you were able to get someone sustainable to hit from these distances that they did today. But if you didn't, you would have got smoked. Like,
I think. Oh, did you freeze? Oh no, you didn't. Okay,
that's what I was wondering.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, no, Mual, if you wanted to follow up to that, that's fine. I thought the AJ was. I didn't know if he was done or not.
I was just gonna say there's a couple things missing here. I think AJ, point blank period. I don't think you're wrong to have questions on Cliff. I think to add to it, like I just think that there's like off rip, there's just a multitude of different things that we have to really look into. Like early on for sure. I mean, Jayden took 5 sacks, and I think out of those 5, there's probably like 3 of them that was bad. And a couple of them was actually in scoring position, right? And I don't know what that, just like we did last week, I don't know exactly what his field vision looked like until you watch the all 22. But I think when we kind of look at a mesh of like what was available versus what was not necessarily working from a play call perspective, we gotta wait to figure that part out. This whole thing is just new. I like how like throughout the day, like these draws, these screens was working well against a team that was playing so soft against Washington for the most part. And I think that's what really kept them in the game on the offensive side of the standpoint. Like you racked up 425 yards on the day. Similar to like last week where we're talking about a team who that Keep that in mind. But also 7 of 14 on third downs. So think about the defensive side of football last week when we're saying, because we ain't even touched the defense yet, fellas. We're talking about the defense side of football last week, who we're saying we need to give them some time because we're not too worried about that side of the football, given that these guys ain't had time to play yet and all these other things. This is the offensive side of the football who came back and did drastically better than what they did the week before. This time they only scored 7 field. I mean, they only kicked the ball 7 times in scoring position. No touchdown scored this time, but you end up scoring 21. I just think that there's a mix that we have to really take into account because when we get to this defense side of football, we're going to have much larger conversations about like some bigger issues versus what we're seeing offensively and just saying there's just a matter of time till they really start getting in the end zone and everything starts clicking. Or so you hope.
And more for me, I honestly didn't think we would kind of come into this conversation on this podcast kind of blasting offense in a sense. I mean, yeah, we didn't score any touchdowns, and that pissed me off today too. But you know what else we didn't see? We didn't see Tress Way on the field at all today. I don't think we've seen Tress Way come out at one point today and punt the football. So that goes to show that's an offense that's moving the ball, and that's an offense that's comfortable. Now, there's going to be some valid criticisms with Cliff's.
Correct, no punch too, by the way. Just
yes.
Confirm, no punch.
Yeah, no punch. We didn't see Tress Way at all. So the biggest thing is right now we didn't score any touchdowns today. But at the same time, I do feel like there's some kind of leeway you can grant to this offense with a rookie quarterback in the system. Like, what was the biggest complaint we had about Eric Bieniemy last year? He didn't run the ball at all hardly. He didn't kind of help Sam Howell at all. Despite Sam Howell's flaws and all, he didn't help Sam Howell. I think that's quite the opposite this year. I think Cliff is kind of he's trying to set Jayden up into rhythms. He's trying to get Jayden comfortable. I thought early on with a lot of the horizontal passes that they were doing, they were trying to set something up for later because they were taking what the Giants gave them. Like the Giants were giving them those, soft little screens and whatnot, and they took them, and they were successful with them for the most part. I mean, they moved the ball, and right now, Jayden, we are trying to find out what he's going to be good at early on, and I think Cliff's trying to find that out as well. So, I mean, this is a new offense, and that's why right now, like, I'm not really too down on the offense. It's more the defense. We're going to get to the defense later. I mean, that's where my concerns lie for the most part. But I just feel like the offense right now are lacking the technical things. And we also know that the offense is lacking premium talent in the pass catcher group. I mean, yeah, you have Terry, but then there's everyone else. What else do you have there? Again, there's going to be the valid criticisms of Cliff going forward in the offense. But I think right now this is still too early to be mad and upset with them, especially after the game. We didn't see them punt at all in this game. Like, it wasn't an anemic offense. The biggest issue we had with this team today is that they didn't finish. So, and I do think those opportunities will come when you play a little bit more disciplined. They didn't help themselves out in the red zone today. That was a big issue. And I don't think you're going to have those issues every week. Well, at least I hope not. If you have those issues every week, then you start looking at Dan Quinn as an issue. But for the most part, coming out of this game, I mean, I love the balance. I love the run game today. I love getting Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson, the ball and the touches, all of that. And also, shout out to the veterans in this game. Like, that's probably one of my takeaways. I don't know if this is a one-sentence takeaway, but the veterans and Zach Ertz and Austin Eckler, two dudes that people said were washed. I mean, these two dudes came out and they had great games today. And I think Austin Eckler got robbed of a kickoff return for a touchdown on that first play of the game.
Well, blame his mans. But
first off, I mean, I'm like, why is the ref even calling that? This dude, he wasn't even nowhere near that play. He wasn't going to make the play. Whatever. I mean, he took it away. They could have let my man Austin have that.
I mean, I think, yeah, it's cool if you're dinking and dunking down the field, but if you aren't capitalizing on touchdowns, you now just got a bunch of time taken off the clock, and you putting yourself at a disadvantage, especially if the defense can't stop the other team's offense. So, I mean, yeah, we're gonna give them time. You feel me, defensively and offensively, but there's still like certain things that you can see with the defense where you still have like some room of optimism. But when it comes to offensively, as far as like helping your young quarterback with some tells, like that's the whole point of the motion game, is to give tells to your quarterback. Also, just to misdirect the defense and get them off balance. And you're not seeing really no motion within this offense. Like, it's extremely frustrating knowing that's the reason why Cliff had like stagnant offenses at some point with Arizona, and now to get this opportunity again to call plays in the NFL ranks, and you're not necessarily seeing any type of evolution of his offensive philosophy, even if it's not a productive play, right? At least you see it, but you're not even seeing those things. And once again, Terry didn't necessarily get too involved in today's game as well. I guess one of the great points is Noah
Not
Brown.
downfield, 6 for 22, but
Yeah,
6
but Noah,
catches for 22 yards.
yeah, Noah Brown was there to be somewhat of a factor. But like you said, Dre, the team lacks explosive weapons on the offensive side of the ball as well, and maybe that's why, in certain points, Jayden is also holding on to the ball. Maybe not
Nah,
trusting
bro.
trusting those
Nah,
guys
bro.
in some aspects, but I mean, we'll see what happens. Who they play next week?
I don't like that
Bengals.
narrative, bro. They play the Bengals on Monday night.
Okay, they play the
But like,
Bengals.
yeah, man, like it's bro. It's not he ain't holding the ball because he don't trust his playmate his receivers, bro. That's not like that's a whole different conversation within itself, bro. But like that's 2 weeks in a row, and that's more so of a theme than it is the actual conversation of the people that's around him, bro. You just gotta let the ball go, bro. And he just doesn't do it right now. And that's not a criticism like what's the word? That's not it's not a conclusion in terms of like who he is moving forward. But you just got to see him like grow in terms of quarterbacking. It's just as simple as that. But I ain't about to sit here and say that it ain't because he ain't got nobody he can't throw the ball to, bro. Like I didn't see enough through 2 games to say that he can let the ball go. I think the conversation more so is like what's actually being said when they actually have these conversations from coach to player. And also like what are the coaching points as well. Though that's not something we'll know from our side of the coin. That's just something that they'll have to discuss and things like that. But I think offensively, because I think we've done enough on the offense side of football. I actually one more thing. How many penalties did we have last week? I don't think we had a ton of penalties, but I'm on a double check. But somebody said it in the chat. We had 10 penalties a day for
69 yards.
69 yards. Washington had against the Buccaneers. I'm about to look at it. 2 seconds. Penalties. 7 penalties last week. So they not playing clean games. It's 51 yards. 7 penalties for 51 yards. Now I don't know how many of those were. I remember the Emmanuel Forbes one. That's the bigger one, the DPI. But overall, like I don't know how many of those were on the offense. But generally speaking, Washington isn't playing any clean games right now, and that's a problem. And I don't know what that's going to look like for the offensive line moving forward. I also question like what's the for it to be like so many false starts. I wonder like what exactly is the disconnect between the actual cadence or like the snap count in their head, the offensive lineman and tight end giving Ben Sennett's false start versus like what's actually like from what's being communicated from Jayden. I'm not like placing the blame. I just want to know like what is it, because that was kind of unusual to see like the way that they were performing offensively. Like I think that was kind of unique to me in terms of like the frequency in which those false starts happen and those pre-snap errors. I have no idea, but clean games, you ain't gonna get no dubs like that. And I guess it's just good news that the Giants just weren't a good team today at all, enough to overcome Washington's mistakes. All right, defensively, one of the things last week was they were getting pressure, but they wasn't getting home against Baker. This week is I don't think they did. How many sacks did they get on Daniel Jones? I think they got like 1 or 2 sacks. But they had 1. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me check. I'm looking at the Buccaneers thing right here. Yeah, 1 sack on Daniel Jones. And I remember that one because it was the second half, and in the very next play, bro took off. Devin Singletary took off for like 13, 14 yards, and he fumbled. They didn't have no answer for Malik Neighbors, and Devin Singletary ended the day 16 carries, 95 yards. They ran for 129 yards on 22 carries, including Daniel Jones, five rushes. That offensive line had their way for the most part in terms of the interior. You can get on the edge with these guys, and then obviously we kept seeing the missed tackles from all three levels of the field. 2 weeks in a row where we see the same story with these guys. What are we thinking about this defense?
I think with the defense, Joe Witt Jr. is having a struggle with the fact that his guys up front aren't getting home. And when you struggle to beat your man one on one, you tend to want to apply more pressure. So you're sending more blitzes, and you're putting your defensive backs in opportunities of possibly getting caught on. And that team's wide receiver making a play, as you've seen today, Malik Neighbors went off. You feel me? Like he was able to go off because it just looked like Joe Witt Jr. was having to dial up even more pressures to get home, especially on those third downs, due to the fact that Daniel Jones can move around, and they're just not getting home at all. Um, I guess even now when you think about the Bucks offensive line that they played last week, I mean, uh, what's his name? Aiden Hutchinson had like 5 sacks by himself with the Detroit Lions today against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think the Giants are a better offensive line than we probably give them credit for. Um, but even the run game, I think that's the most surprising thing when you have two supposedly dominant defensive tackles. You also have a guy in like a Bobby Wagner playing middle linebacker. You're hoping to be able to stop the run a bit better, and not have a guy like a Singletary going off. That really put the defensive game plan in shambles, because once you can start to be productive and gain those yards, now that whole play action game opens up, and that's Brian Dayball's repertoire. Like, you feel me? Like that's his thing. If he can develop that run, he definitely will get in his bag offensively from a play action standpoint. And you've seen a mix of that. You never really seen Daniel Jones phased by anything for the entire game. He was able to kind of like just chill back there and make his reads. He looked like a clean quarterback today. If he could play against his Washington defense every damn game of the schedule, I think the Giants fans would be more welcoming of him. But it's just one of those things where I think they don't have the talent. They just don't have the talent defensively to do what Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. have been known to do. Now with the corner position, I knew Michael Davis was asked. Uh, I'm glad that fans were exposed to him today, so they could stop making it seem like, damn, this great player is just sitting on the bench. I think that they have an issue at the cornerback position. I
Okay,
don't know.
nice to know that you acknowledge that now.
I mean,
Hey,
it's just like, I mean, these
nice to know.
guys, no,
Welcome
Noah,
aboard, brother.
Noah and Michael Davis have played enough games in the NFL to know who they are. Like, we know who they are. You feel me? So it's like with Ben. Ben is still just coming into his own and really getting a fresh opportunity to be in a true system that plays to his strengths, but also being coached up well. And you seen last week's game to this week's game. Even last week's game, he wasn't necessarily in bad position. Just needed to clean up on some things, and he played pretty solid today. And I love the punch out that he caused for that fumble. That's
Yeah,
not
that was a
something
good
that you
play.
really seen under the Ron Rivera regime of them attacking the ball. But I love that, and that just shows me that the coaching is truly getting into him all the way. Um, yeah, man, I just think that the defense, the whole team is trying to come together. It's just, it is what it is at this rate. That's what I'm saying. I'm not really stressed because I told y'all here, I don't feel like you'll truly know this team or any team in the NFL up until week 4 of the season. So yeah, I'm pretty content with what it is. It's just something that we got to monitor and just hope that they can actually turn some of these pressures into actual sacks. Luvu plays with his hair on fire, which is a positive and negative. Yeah, Jeremy Chin kind of the same way. So you got two reckless guys, where sometimes it can be positive, sometimes it can be negatives, more negatives than positives. It's just a team that is just not team, but it's just a defense that's truly lacking like dogs all the way.
I mean, that's what it's one of the issues. This defense is lacking the premium talent, and we kind of knew that going in. But what kind of concerns me is something I talked about, all week, and that this was going to be, in a sense, not like how Ron and them like to put it, where Ron and them used to love saying measure a stick and litmus test. I almost kind of looked at this game as that, just because, like I said, this was a coaching staff that's very familiar with Daniel Jones. Like, this is a coaching staff that has been very successful against Daniel Jones. So I was wondering going into this game how this was going to look for the defense, if they were going to be able to have any success against Daniel Jones, because because we know that they don't have the premium talent. We know that we're still lacking certain things. My biggest thing was, how much is this coaching staff going to be able to get out of this group that they have? And that's why I'm kind of walking away from this game, more concerned about the defense than I am the offense, because I wonder going forward, how much can they get out of this group? And we're looking at the secondary right now. And the secondary, I mean, they just got trashed. I mean, Michael Davis, I mean, he looked worse than Emmanuel Forbes ever looked to me. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean,
Jesus Christ, bro. Come on, bro.
I'm sorry, man. He did. Yeah, I know Emmanuel.
He gave up 100% completion percentage in the game before, bro, getting his ass cooked.
I mean, sure, but I mean, but Malik Neighbors looked like prime Randy Moss. I mean, he looked like every great receiver that's ever come through this league, and he looked like he should have been a first round fantasy football pick. Everything in this game, outside of that drop, obviously, which shocked me, and we were
that was a huge drop that we ain't even talk about yet, bro.
We were absolutely
he beat Noah. He was off the line with a fake. Like it's really Daniel Jones' fault, because that was touchdown. Like, immediately, like, Noah bit on the fact that he already had got bit on like a quick little curl route. So Noah bit on that hard, and Malik literally faked him. It should have been a touchdown. Fucking completion.
It was all game, though. I mean, that was all game that Malik Neighbors was open. I felt like no one was checking Malik. It didn't look like Malik Neighbors was actually
He said there. It looked like nobody was checking him.
Now,
the way they dressed, you got the full Dre. I just want to add on Malik, though. Yeah. Like, the way they dressed him up, man. Shout out to I only say shout out because I'm a fan of Dayball. Like, point blank period. I was a fan of him before he came to the Giants. But like, the way they dressed him up, like, they hid Malik through like those bunches, those crossers, and like how they kind of was able to really hide them like through man beaters and like just basically tangling them up from the secondary standpoint, making it hard for them to stay on them in man coverage and things like that. So the Giants made Washington's secondary have a hard time sticking on Malik, and they hit him well. But you got the floor, Dre, to finish your point.
What bothered me about that too was that, to me, it was blatantly obvious watching the telecast that Daniel Jones really didn't want to pass it to anyone else. I was actually shocked with the Wan'Dale Robinson on that one touchdown, because it seemed like every time he dropped back to pass, it was going to Malik Neighbors, and every time Malik Neighbors was open, or nobody was really around him.
Three receivers got receptions. Malik Neighbors had 10. Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson was the other two with 5 combined receptions.
And that's crazy, like I said, because it was fairly obvious where Daniel Jones wanted to go with the ball all game, and it just felt like we had no answer for it. And that's what concerns me about the defense going forward. Like, how do you adjust in games? Like, that's the biggest thing for me, like the adjustments in games, because there's going to be games where teams are going to have a better game plan than you coming out to start. But how do you adjust to this game plan? And I just felt like all day we didn't adjust to the game plan of Malik Neighbors. And again, the only reason we really came out with the W in this game is because Malik Neighbors dropped the pass that he had caught all game. So that's one of the things I'm looking at with the defense and with Joe Witt, and I don't want to get too hard on Joe Witt yet, because I do recognize that the talent is kind of lacking on that side of the ball right now. Like, I know I see a lot of fans kind of, going back to his offseason comments where he talks about playing violent and physical. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I know that's how he wants to play, but your personnel is your personnel. So now going forward, it's going to be interesting to me to see how how Joe Witt adjusts to the personnel that he has. Like, I mean, maybe you can't play this fast, physical, aggressive defense with the personnel. I mean, I know that's the the identity you want to have, but can you adjust to it?
But Dre, I think they are playing fast and physical. They just aren't completing. But the major difference is you don't have a Micah Parsons. Like Micah Parsons changes everything for a offensive coordinator and how they have to go about their game plan. Michael Parsons is an elite defensive player, and that makes you look also better as a defensive coordinator, and also makes everyone else around him better, and can really succeed at a high clip. You know, they're not forcing the turnovers like they want to and what they've been accustomed to in Dallas because there's no one getting home. There's no real threat from a defensive standpoint that you really have to watch out for. I mean, of course, like we love Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, but to be fair, these guys aren't like disruptors like a Quentin Williams or Aaron Donald. Like these guys, they're solid players, but they're not disrupting the game like those two in particular. So when you don't have a Michael Parsons on that front or whatever the case is, yeah, it's a bit different, especially if you got an aggressive standpoint of a defensive front.
Now, I'm asking y'all this because I don't know.
I want to play just one thing right quick. This is from Dan Quinn, post game about the secondary. And let's hear this, and y'all got the floor on y'all thoughts.
Where you're at a corner right now, two guys who have to play today.
Yeah, I would say we're still undecided. Would be the answer I would give to you. Just like any other position, we're just going to keep competing to find the right answer and the right people to put into those spots. We thought it was the best to make a switch during the game today, and so that's why we did that. By no means does that mean we're through or that. Like, I don't want in this day and age to be that. I do want to say, but we're always going to find to say what's the best to win for today, and so that was an example of that today.
That's in regards to
the secondary and the cornerback. I think that he was talking about. I think Noah Igbenogany came in for Mike Davis in the second half in terms of like starting or like the opposite of Benjamin St. Juice. I think that's what he's referring to specifically.
Man, I know Adam Peters said you can't make your team better during the season. I think that's a damn lie. You better pick up the phone and call somebody, dog, because I don't even trust in Noah. You feel me? So, man, that's just tough, bro. I don't know. They gotta go.
Games.
They gotta go bring in a veteran. Like, because even if you elevate someone from practice squad, they're not acclimated with the game, the speed. You gotta go make a call to somebody. But that's the one thing we have said about this regime so far. They notice when they have some flaws and they'll try to correct it. They thought that Michael Davis would be a contributor. Unfortunately, I disagree. I don't see him contributing. I see someone that needs to continue to be on the bench.
Well, I mean, it seems like to me they are kind of undecided on what they're going to do with a lot of positions on the defense. I mean, even the safety group. I think I saw Percy Butler out there a lot, which kind of shocked me. I mean, I know he was one of the captains of the week, but I
seen him out there, and Quan Martin wasn't out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So what's the rotation? Because I think I know I saw a lot of plays. I feel like with Jeremy Chin wasn't on the field and Percy Butler was, but I mean, they don't seem like they have a full grasp of like definitive starters on the defense at certain position groups. I mean, because you talk about the cornerback group, you don't know outside of Ben St. Juice. I mean, there's a rotation going on at cornerback. Now you're seeing a rotation at safeties. I mean, even the edge group. I mean, there's a lot of Jags in the edge group, but there's no really definitive guys out there in the edge group. But this just goes back to what we've been kind of talking about with the premium talent on defense. There's lacking a lot of talent on that side of the football. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how Joe Witt and Dan Quinn both, kind of just adjust to what they have right now, because what they have right now isn't really stopping anyone. Like it is not really going to keep them in games against good teams. I mean, as we've seen against Tampa Bay, they couldn't get off the field at all against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay is a playoff team. The Giants
They just
in
went
my
on the
opinion,
road and
yes,
did their business
and
against
beat
Detroit.
the Lions. And we saw what the New York Giants did last week. You know, they got destroyed by the Minnesota Vikings, who a lot of people wouldn't have in the playoffs necessarily with their quarterback situation. And we struggled against them. They looked like an efficient offense against us for the most part today. So it just kind of it's those concerns going forward. Like, how are they going to manage this group that they have? Because right now, there's no confidence that they can stop a lot of good offenses in this league right now.
I got a facetious question. Would Jamin Davis have made them better today?
No. He didn't make them better last week. I mean, so what would he have done today? But no, I did want to ask this though. Johnny Newton, I mean, I'm legitimately asking this question. Was he on the field a lot today? Because I was looking for him a couple times and I didn't see him, but I wasn't looking for him every place. So I don't know if he played a lot. Did y'all notice Johnny Newton out there?
I couldn't even see the damn names on the back of the jerseys for real. And they were just getting gassed so much. It was just like, hey man, it is what it is.
I saw a couple reps from Newton, but I didn't have like no significant takeaways. Matter of fact, the one rep that I did see, this wasn't on. It actually, you know what? I don't know whose it was on, but they ran on his side. He was a play side gap, but I don't know if it was his gap in particular or like it was outside of him. But yeah, it was a big gain on the ground. Yeah, I don't know, man. It'd be interesting, but I saw him on a couple plays with that side. But to y'all point though, I also, this is something that I wanted to say for like 10 minutes and I kept forgetting. I agree with AJ, and I think I agree with AJ in this specific point. Defensively, and a lot of people knew this already, so this isn't like no secret. I think this is more so of a reminder that we have to take into account as the weeks move forward. There isn't that much talent on that defensive side of the football, specifically in some key areas. Like the question marks that existed on the defensive line is still there. The issues and question marks that existed in the secondary, specifically cornerback, is even more glaring with Forbes out. And with Forbes being out isn't saying much of anything, right? I think what we didn't account for is the missed tackles. The missed tackles that you would have on all three levels of the field. Jayden, sorry. Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, and then you're talking about the defensive line as well. Percy Butler is predictable. He's had several missed tackles throughout his career. Quan Martin, I think he had some, and obviously the cornerbacks as well had their fair share. I think from a talent standpoint, I understand. Like Joe, like what frustrates me sometimes is when I hear people and I take them at their word, right? And that's all you got for me when I think about coaches, because that's the only thing they can do is like give their pressers and give their thoughts. And so like I'm not holding anything against Joe Witt Jr. when I say this. I'm more so bringing it to light. But like you can only do so much when you say what you want to do for your defense and what you want your defense to look like. But the only thing you got to do at this point is hope that you still see incremental improvements, whether that be we're putting arbitrary numbers out there, right? Like a 5% increase in terms of production and better play from week 2 to week 3, and then 2% more, like whatever that number is and whatever it looks like on the field. Like you just want to see steps taken in the right direction. And I think that is what puts people in a better place in terms of what they're seeing in the product on the field. I do like sometimes the way he's able to, like there has been some plays and some moments where he has dialed up pressures and he's dialed up blitzes from the secondary and from the second level. Like you don't get that from Jack Del Rio from the last regime. Like you never really seen that, hardly seen it at all. And like Joe Witt dials things up from different areas of the field. They didn't hit home clearly, but like he sees something that he likes and something that he thinks that can work if we have the pieces in place, or if we time their blitzes up right, or if the pass rushers win quicker than what they're winning right now. I just think that from a defense side of the standpoint, right now, I think the biggest factor in all of this is what AJ and actually you too, Dre, that you all alluded to is just the talent, bro. The talent just isn't there yet.
But can we get, I mean, what can you do this year to get something out of it? Because you have to make this team adequate at some point, on that side of the football. I mean, I understand that we don't have the talent to kind of compete right now, but at the same time, those boys got to get off the field. Yeah, when the Panthers are just
come on, but that's what I'm getting at though. Like, when a team is bad, like you got to remember, by the time training camp hit, you just set your team. That team is set.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you got free agents laying around, right? But I'm saying for the most part, the majority of your team is set. So, like, one player here and there ain't gonna make a drastic difference if you bring somebody in. Now, if you need a stop plug, like a stopgap, at one position in particular, maybe a free agent that's laying around can probably get the job done. But you got leaks from several different areas, bro.
I know.
And that ain't going to change.
Really, Mual, two really big glaring deficiencies on that defense right now. And that's the lack of a really kind of, not even, I don't even want to say dominant, but the lack of an adequate edge rusher in the system.
Like a Hassan Reddick, right?
I mean, and that's one thing. And then you're missing the cornerback too. You don't have that as well. So it's like those are two really big things this defense is missing, and those can kind of mask up a lot of other issues. So right now we can't really mask up issues with a certain one certain talent. At one point, we used to think that could be the defensive tackles, but now we're seeing John Allen kind of looks washed. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So he's a guy that we've always been able to rely on. I've never actually.
Wait, say it again?
John Allen looks washed.
And somebody mentioned me on Twitter and said he had another bad moment, and I didn't even see it. He said he had another bad moment, bro.
But we don't see
I can't wait to watch it
right now. That's the issue. We're not seeing a lot of good moments from John Allen right now, and it's just kind of amplifying. And
free money, baby.
That's what I'm saying. We're seeing now that this defense, man, we don't have anybody that can take pressure off of anything at this point, including Joe Witt. Like, no one can take pressure off of Joe Witt. No one can mask up any deficiencies on this defense. Right now, it literally is all on Joe Witt, Dan Quinn to get something out of this group that they have.
Hey, Adam Peters, people putting trust in you. So, I mean, it's his team. You feel me? Like, this is the byproduct of what he put together. At some point, I guess the frustrating thing is if it continues this way,
Tyler, bro.
If it continues this way offensively and defensively, for the whole entire season, it's like, what do you even do next year in the offseason? It's like you're gonna be in the same position. You're not gonna be able to complete all those tasks because right now, you still don't know if you got a left tackle. You damn sure ain't got a right tackle. And if we gonna evaluate and bench guys like Michael Davis or whatever, we need to start talking about Andrew Wiley. You have no pass rushers. You have secondary in question, linebacker, especially at middle because Bobby is getting older. It's like you just back in year one once again trying to fix all these things. So it's interesting. You just hope that some of these guys start to come into their own and play better. But as of right now, if those the leagues that you have right now can continue for the remainder of 15 games. The other 15 games.
Oh yeah, for sure. I expect it. I don't expect a drastic improvement. I may think like there's gonna be some moments where like you have some offenses that isn't going to challenge you too much, and you have like matchup advantages. But yeah, I don't think there's gonna be a significant improvement at all. Last thing, I guess for me, shout out to Jayden. I think I don't know how I come off. So I'm more so not talking. I'm not talking to literally y'all. I'm talking to everybody that's just watched the show. I'm very like I want Jayden to be good so bad that I'm like I be on his ass about like small things. And like it frustrates me when I want him to be. I admittedly want him to be the quarterback that I saw his last year at LSU like off rip, but I know that's going to take some time. So like I see certain things where it's like, I know you can get rid of the football right here, bro. Like, or like, please, bro, just dump the ball off, or please, bro, like throw the football away. Like it's a dead play. But I want to acknowledge at the very least that last drive that he did have to get Washington in field goal range to get the game winning field goal from what's that dude name?
Austin Seibert.
Seibert. I was about to say Shorbert. I don't even know where Shorbert came from. But good job from Jayden to be able to even lead that drive. The big play we mentioned, Lil Brown briefly over the middle. But hitting Noah in stride and in rhythm for the 34-yarder. His debut was good enough. 3 targets, 3 receptions, 56 yards. So I think that he led a really good drive to even get these guys in position for the most part. And honestly, Cliff Kingsbury for that last drive too. Like they were both locked in when it mattered. And so I think that's a really good step. My last thing was that I don't know what Cincinnati's going to present. Like that's going to be a much bigger test. I still think that they are.
That's Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night, and they are a playoff team. No matter how anybody wants to slice that. But shout out to Jayden. I want to give him credit. But the MVP, I guess, if I had to say one, though I am rambling a little bit, is Seibert for putting the team on his back.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go next. I mean, first off, my MVP is definitely Seibert. I don't think you can go anywhere else with the MVP. Yes, all 21 of your points in the game, 7 field goals. But no, I mean, to me, this whole season is about Jayden Daniels' development. And I mean, I know a lot of fans, watched how explosive he was at LSU, and they want to see that now. But I really just think that right now we're seeing the growth and development with Jayden right now. It's going to be some growing pains. I mean, that's a rookie quarterback right there. Like, I mean, every rookie, even the greatest rookie quarterbacks, they have growing pains. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's putting anything out there that's so bad that you're like, man, I don't know if this guy is it. Like, I don't think we've looked at him in these 2 games yet and thought once that, man, thank God he's not Bryce Young or something. I mean, he looks like he looks like he's where he's supposed to be, and he hasn't even turned, like, knock on wood, he hasn't turned the ball over yet in 2 games. And that's a huge thing for a rookie quarterback. And he has in his first 2 games. He has a game-winning drive under his belt. I mean, that's got to feel good going forward. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of connects with him as far as if that's going to give him some kind of boost or an edge going forward. But at the end of the day, I mean, he led his team to a win in week 2. I mean, he was the one that got him down there. And Cliff, Cliff is, like I say, he's going to have some things where there's going to be the valid criticism. There's going to be the things with the motion. A lot of people are going to, look at that and say he's not motioning his wide receivers, the pre-snap stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, I thought he called a pretty decent game. I mean, if you're in scoring position, 100% of the game, 100% of the game, Washington was in scoring position. They just didn't finish. That is an issue. You have to score in the red zone. But again, new rookie quarterback, you still have a new offensive line. I mean, this offensive line is still kind of getting to know each other, and we know about the issues with the pass catches. But I will say this. If Austin Eckler is looking like this, he looked like Chargers Austin Eckler out there. I didn't see a washed Austin Eckler at all today. And then you couple that in with a Zach Ertz, who's also kind of looking like he's getting some mojo back. Now, he's not the Zach Ertz from 6 years ago with Philadelphia, and he's not even the Zach Ertz from Arizona, but he looks adequate out there. So, maybe those guys get in the rhythm. They're giving Jayden some confidence. They're giving Cliff some confidence. But what you do want to see going forward, and this is what we're all going to be looking for, you want to start to see those big plays start to come together. We haven't seen the real big plays come together. It's a lot of, driving and ball control offense. But at some point, you want to see those big plays start to connect. But I'm giving the offense a lot more leeway at this point than I am giving the defense, just more so just because of, I'm worried about the talent on defense. Whereas I feel like on offense, we got a piece. We got a piece in Jayden Daniels. And that piece so far through 2 games, he's looked like a really good piece that's going to turn into something, maybe what we've all been kind of hoping for. And that's a great piece at some point. So right now, I'm really feeling, I'm what do they call it? Bullish. I'm bullish on the offense right now. I'm bearish on the defense right now.
Bearish. That's a word.
Yeah,
what bearish mean?
Is that even a word?
It's a stock market thing. Stock market, if you're bullish on something, you're high on it.
I knew it. Bullish,
bearish, you're down on it. You're down on it. You're bearish.
But I think for me, man, when I do look at Jayden Daniels, I think I just visualize like, damn, I can't wait till this guy gets some more talented weapons around him. and a better offensive coordinator. Like, honestly, that's what I was thinking about this whole Giants game, especially the first snap. Like, you have all week, and your first play of your script is another damn fucking screen, bruh. Like back to back weeks, and it's negative. It's like, bruh, what are we doing? Like that is
You
so
know what really
childish to
hurt?
me.
That draw. We need to talk about that draw. I think they had a penalty or something like that, and he ran a QB draw with Jayden, and it went for like minus 1 yard
Bruh,
in the red zone. That was the
that
one that's the one I was like that was really like what the F.
Yeah, I think Jayden has all the potential in the world. They just got to surround him with the right people and the right talent. I'm not really concerned about him too much. Even the little hiccups in the passing game of, some of us complaining about not getting rid of the ball. I think that's something that he'll adjust to and get acclimated to once more reps at the NFL position of playing quarterback in comparison to college. You got wider hashes to work with. He had much more talent, as we seen today. Malik Neighbors is the damn truth. And when I bring up his name, he was the MVP of the game. And the reason why I say he's the MVP of the game, if he doesn't drop
That
that
drop.
pass, they lose. So even though the kicker made all these field goals, that's cool and all. But if that man does not drop that fourth down catch, then even Austin Eckler can get some credit for being MVP of the game. Not from necessarily what he did in the receiving and um, running game, but that kickoff where it injured Graham Gano. Like that changed everything. That changed everything as far as their approach to how they had to
AJ,
attack the
when you
game.
gonna give Brian Robinson some credit? When you gonna say something
No,
about Brian
I
Robinson?
mean, you had a whole 5 minutes to give him MVP and you did it. And you want
No,
me to
I want you to talk about him.
He just asked. I thought he asked a
Nah,
legitimate question, bro.
make him
What's
your
wrong?
Thank you,
your damn MVP.
No, I
Nah,
want
I
you to
mean
say
Brian
something
Robinson
about him.
played a good game, but I still stand by my point. I think that Austin Eckler would be a better feature back within the scheme. Not saying that it shouldn't still be a 1-2 combo, just a bit more touches. Um, Overall, I don't know what's to come for the rest of the offense. I'm just so tired of seeing so many damn screens that aren't productive. I love the play call to Austin Eckler, like faking one way and then throwing it back the other way. I thought that was great. Um, yeah, he's a bowling ball. Um, at the end of the day, man, you just want to see improvements from the team. But I feel positive as far as Washington having their quarterback in Jayden Daniels. Um, you just want to continue to see them be more effective in the passing game, but also threaten the ball downfield a bit more. The dink and dunk is cool every now and then, but if you're gonna dink and dunk, you need to put up six. Like if you're not going to consistently put up six with the dinking and dunking, stop dinking and stop dunking that way. Dunk a different way. But yeah, man, I think it's just another week. First win for Dan Quinn, Adam Peters as Washington Commanders brass. Next week, Monday Night Football. Can't get any better than that. But you're also facing another dog at wide receiver in Jamar Chase and a dog at quarterback. Will they be able to get home to Joe Burrow? Will they be able to stop uh, Jamar Chase in these bunch formations? We shall see.
Bruh. I just seen some lady. I'm over here scouring the timeline for Commanders quotes, and I just seen some lady prepare her oatmeal and put sour cream in her oatmeal, bro.
I don't even eat oatmeal, so
Bruh, and she squeezed half the pack of sour cream in
may
her
may I
oatmeal,
may I
bro.
ask, was she YT?
No, you don't have to ask.
No. She wasn't YT, but she was BB.
Oh, big back, baby.
Big back. She was big back. Yep. She looked. If she sound like the pot, she looked like the pot. Goddamn right. This is ridiculous. Oh my lord. That's gonna end it for us, man. God bless that lady who put sour cream in her oatmeal. If you all put sour cream in your oatmeal, come to the front of the congregation. I want to block you from this channel. But
we gotta get Jayden Daniels some sour cream so he don't get them ribs broken.
Oh yeah, hey, funny enough, that's actually why he did say he got the wind knocked out of him. Crazy play. But I guess
he changed that. I thought he came out better after that. I thought that hit might have been a blessing in disguise for him. I thought he was actually looking to get rid of the ball a little bit after that. So hey, maybe that was what he needed.
Maybe. But the game will be back on Tuesday. Appreciate everybody who tapped in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday, man. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy that Sunday night football game too. That's gonna be a good one. Texans in Chicago, bro. Can't wait. We out here.
Oh,
Peace.
dang. I meant to